everybody, I'm Tiffany from Cards with Tiffany, and I have another video tutorial today featuring our September 2016 stamp of the month, Blessed Beyond Measure. So let's get right to it. So the inks we're going to be using today, we have a few. We have Topiary, we have Cranberry, Sorbet, Cocoa, and Cashmere. And we're using a few different color cardstocks. We have our Eggplant and we have White Daisy, and you're also going to need a scrap of Fern, Poppy, and Saffron. So we're going to start with our White Daisy piece, and we're going to go, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our Cashmere and we're going to kind of create a background with our Cashmere and a sponge. So I got my wedge and my sponge, and these can, when you cut them down into the wedge, you can go and just wash them, rinse them with the water, and then reuse them. So I'm going to get some ink, and all I'm going to do is I'm kind of just going to swirl around in a circle around my page, and I'm kind of doing it in a oval kind of pattern. I don't want nothing really in the middle. And this will determine how, how dark or how light you want it. I want it fairly light. I just want enough to have some color on there. So all I'm doing is pressing lightly and swirling. Kind of want to make it look like ground, almost lightly ground. So once I got what I like, and I'm going to go back in just a little bit more and kind of bring it out to the edges a little. So I'm kind of working it way out to the edges like that. So that's all I'm going to do with that. So that's all we're using our Cashmere for. So now we're going to go on to some of our stamping. And we're going to be stamping in our Cocoa. And what we're going to be stamping first is our sentiment, and I'm using the thankful to having you in my life. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place my thankful down kind of where I want it, and to having you in my life, I'm going to also put that down because I kind of want to be able to see like that, line them up perfectly like that, and then I can just take my block and pick them up together. Now we can't forget about our foam. It just makes everything stamp just that much better. So ink that up in our Cocoa, and I'm gonna go right in the middle, straight down, straight up. There we are. So now what we're going to do is we're kind of going to decorate around our border, and the first one we're going to use is the big leaf that has the opened they're not the colored in leaves. It's the bigger leaf that doesn't have the colored in. So I'm going to switch blocks here and pick that up. So what we're going to do is we're going to ink that up, and we're going to stamp them in the four corners. So kind of stamp it like this, pointing in towards the middle of our card. And I just find if the card was all white, I felt I didn't want to have a full color piece, so just adding a little bit of color is going to pull all the color into the middle of our card, and we're having our leaves so our eyes are focused to the middle. So once we get that done, we're going to take, using our Cocoa still, we're going to take the other leaf, the one that has the colored in on the leaf, the smaller one, and we're going to ink that up, and we're going to go and stamp that below, pointing up into the center like that, and we'll do one going down into the center as well like that. Perfect. So now don't put your Cocoa too far because we're going to need it, but we're not going to need it right this second. So now we're all done with this piece, so we're going to set that piece aside for now, and we'll just keep that handy. So now what you're going to do is this stamp set goes with the art booking cartridge. Well, I don't have the art booking cartridge, but I really want to have the leaves. So what I did is I went and I photocopied this and made a template. So here is my template here. So I made a template. And so what I did is I traced my template onto my cardstock. So I made one, I made some with the saffron, I made some in my fern and with my poppy. So that's what I did. And I made 2 of each. So to save a lot of time, I don't think you want to sit there and watch me cut out a whole bunch of leaves. I already cut out my leaves. Now this is a part where maybe I liked having 6 on my card, you might only like 3. That is a decision that's up to you. So once I cut them out, what I did is I took my inks. So I took the topiary for the fern, I took the cranberry for the poppy, and I took the sorbet. Can you see that there? The sorbet for the saffron. And all I did is I took my sponge and I inked around to give them kind of like so they had a little bit more color and you could see dimension in them. So I didn't do this one, so I'm going to do that one with you guys now. So we're just going to put those aside because we're done with those. So I just take my saffron and I take my sponge, a clean sponge, and I just ink that up. And all I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick around the edges here, going in and out to create. And if you could see before, just even seeing here the 2 of them, like the difference that it makes in them, just it brings it, looks like it's the color turning into the leaf on a beautiful fall day. I love fall. I think it's my favorite season. Plus my birthday's in fall too, so once we have that all done, and you can definitely go in and use other colors as well, you know. You can, once you've done this color, you can add another color if you like, and play with the different colors. So once we have that done, we got to stamp the middle of our leaves. So bring back in my foam, bring back in my cocoa, and these are the bigger ones. So I'm going to bring back in my bigger leaf, and that's all I'm going to do. So I'm going to set these all up here, and I can stamp them, get them all stamped here for you at once. And they fit in there so perfectly. And if you're cutting them out, don't be worried about, you know, the leaves being perfect. Not all leaves look identical the same. It's like snowflakes. You know, if one doesn't look up there, it's going to be okay. We're not going to know. So I'll just finish up these here. And they fit in there so nice. And just look, I just love it with the color of the edging, and then having the cocoa in the middle. It just brings the leaf right to life. It's almost like we went out and picked them ourselves. Just simply beautiful. Fall is here with me in the house. So there. So now that I have that done, we can put our ink aside because we're all done stamping now with our inks. So now here's something new and different we're going to try. We're going to take our bone folder, and what we're going to do is flip our leaves upside down, and we're just going to give them a little bit of, not a crease, we're just going to kind of round them. We're loosening up the paper, the fibers that are in our paper. And look at that, it just looks like the leaf is falling from the sky. You know, when the wind gets in there. So that's all I'm doing. I'm starting with the leaves on the outside, curling those under, and then kind of curling the one in the middle, and then going back and shaping it. And it depends, you might not like this, so you don't have to do it, or you don't want to do it so much. But that's all I'm doing. And I'm using my thumb on the paper, kind of like if you're curling ribbon on a present. And that's all we're doing. So there, got that done. Now we have a pile of leaves that we can jump into. So now what I'm going to do is just set those aside, and I'm going to bring in my card base, our 5.5 by 8.5. Got that scored. Fold that in half, and taking my bone folder again, I'm going to crease that edge. So now I'm going to put down my eggplant base, and I wanted to color. I didn't want to pick a color from here because I didn't want any of the colors to really pop out from one another. So that's why I picked the eggplant. It's a darker color, so it's going to bring out the cocoa in our card. And it's only a small border on the card. So we'll take that, make sure our card opens correctly, and line that up just like so. There we are. And now we're going to glue down our other white daisy piece that we've already stamped onto. And we're going to stamp that, or sorry, not stamp, we're going to glue that. And like I said, it's only that little bit that we want showing. So just like that. So now this is where the fun begins, and you can play around however you'd like. So you can put on a few, you can put on a lot. That's something that's up to you. So I kind of want to have these ones kind of up like that. Maybe one down in the corner. Maybe another one here. What do you think? So we'll just start gluing them down and just see where they place. Like I said, you might not like all of them on there. That's up to you. But all I did is I just put a little bit on the back, not too much, because I still want it to be able to go and still have that falling kind of look. So if I put the first one, maybe kind of put that one over the things. And then they'll kind of curl back up there. So just a little. Then put that one, kind of like overlap that one. And mine are sticking off the card, so you might need a little bit bigger of an envelope. Kind of bend that up around the words there. And we'll put one on the green. This is kind of building your own little forest. Maybe put that one. I want to cover up my life there. So kind of have that one there. Then the yellow. Oops, we can actually, there we go. Like that maybe. So now what I'm going to do with the other two is I'm actually going to use my foam tape from close to my heart because it's thinner. I don't want it to pop up too much. Just take a little bit and put it on the middle of that one and the middle of this one. And then just going to pop that one up kind of like that and pop this one up over here like that. So there. So now what I'm going to do is one last thing is I got the fern, the thick twine, the fern, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to go and wrap it around this leaf here, and I'm going to go and put my knot in it. Whoops, maybe it's easier to put that on this side. There, and just tie a little knot like that, and then I'm just going to cut this like that and trim this off a tiny bit more. So then all I'm going to do is take this and fray it. So I want to pull each of those strands in the twine apart, just like so, and just kind of wisp them up a little. There. And there is our card. Thankful to having you in my life. And there we go. Another beautiful fall card. So thanks again for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this card and that you give it a try. And just because you don't have that artful, what was it called? Art booking cartridge doesn't mean that you still can't have the beautiful leaves as well. So give it a try. And happy card making.